So what is NotebookLM? Think of it like this. You have a really smart friend, but that friend only knows the things that you actually tell him. So if you give him your test book, your notes, then you can have a talk with him based on that stuff. They won't go off and search the internet for a completely random method and solve the question with that method that you don't even know. They only work with what you give them. That friend is NotebookLM, and NotebookLM is just an amazing tool that I've come across and I wanted to share it with you. The technical word for what this is called grounded AI, meaning its answers are grounded in your sources, not random. But you don't need to care about that, just know that it works with what you give it. Nothing else. Okay, so when you open NotebookLM, the first thing you have to do is create a notebook. Think of a notebook like a project. You can create a notebook per subject or per chapter based on your needs. Do whatever you think is right for you. Then you add sources. The source is just the material that you want the AI to work with. That could be a PDF or lecture, your notes or NCERT, etc. And this is the one I want you to pay attention to, a YouTube video. Yes, you can paste a YouTube video directly into NotebookLM. So if you have a lecture on YouTube, let's say for me, a lecture by Manish sir from PW or from anyone else, you can now add that whole lecture as a source. NotebookLM reads the transcript and answers based on the lecture. You can ask it questions, you can ask it to summarize things, you can ask it to do a lot of things in the studio panel that I'll be shortly talking about. This one feature makes NotebookLM so cool to me, like you can just paste a lecture and do a lot of stuff with it. Once your sources are in, you get a ChatGPT like panel where you can ask it questions, ask it to summarize things and do a lot of stuff. It pulls the answers directly from your sources and also tells you from what point in your sources did it answer. Alright, so here's how I actually use this. I'm currently preparing for CA Foundation and Class 12 Commerce. My main subjects are accountancy, business and economics. All three have a lot of sources, my notes, my lectures, my reference books, my NCERT. I put them all in the same notebook. Now when I sit down to study the chapter, I'm not just passively reading the chapter or watching the lecture. I can actively ask questions, I can do a lot of stuff with it in the studio panel that I'm just about to talk about. Let's say I'm watching a lecture on goodwill. I can ask it any question based on this lecture, like explain goodwill valuation based on average profit method or capitalization of average profit method, or what's the difference between weighted average and normal average. It gives me an answer directly from my sources and also tells me exactly from where the sources my answers are. The most important thing that differentiates this from ChatGPT or any other AI is that these definitions and answers are based on your sources. So what your teacher said or what your textbook says is what the AI says. Or normally if you ask Gemini or ChatGPT, they give a completely different definition which may not be valid for the exam. So this makes NotebookLM a lot more valuable. That's the shift from passive learning to actively interacting with the material. This is the one I want to talk about a bit more as I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. So most of our lectures are on YouTube, whether they are from Physics Wala, whether from Next Toppers, whether from Vedantu, whether from I don't know where, they are all on YouTube. Now as I just said, NotebookLM lets you paste the link of that YouTube video into NotebookLM and use it as a source. What that means in practice is that I can take a 2-hour lecture, ask it questions based on the lecture, ask it to create a mind map based on the question, ask it to create a podcast based on the lecture, I can ask it to create a slide based on the lecture, I can ask it to create so much stuff with the lecture, and I can even ask it to create flashcards and quizzes based on the lectures. I can ask it very specific questions like what did my teacher say about interest on loan when partnership deed is not there, etc. I can also ask it when I am in middle of the lecture. One thing to know, this works only when your YouTube video has a caption, so check that before doing anything. Another thing that I use this for, and this one is a bit more advanced, is cross-referencing. Say I have both my BW lecture and my NCERT. I can ask, does the physics wala lecture cover everything that the NCERT does? Or are there any differences in the explanation of the same concept in these two sources? This is very useful in class 11th and class 12th because every teacher teaches the same thing differently, so you can have different perspectives at the same place, which is very helpful. So on the right side of your screen, you have a panel called Studio. This is where the best features of NotebookLM are. There are 5 main tiles: video overview, audio overview, mind map, flashcards and quizzes. Let me go through each one. Audio overview. This is the one that people talk about the most. It takes your sources and generates a podcast style audio overview. Basically, two people talking about your sources, asking questions to each other, then answering each other, going back and forth with your source material. It's pretty well built. But what what people don't know is there are different formats of audio overview in NotebookLM. The default is the deep dive, the podcast style one that I just talked about. The second one is brief. It's a 1 to 2 minute core summary of your sources, and it's very useful before exams. There's a critique where the host criticizes your material, finds weaknesses in it, and provides feedback. And then there's the debate where there are two hosts that represent opposing theories or opposing concepts, and this one is genuinely helpful in economics to me because economics sometimes just doesn't make sense. It's like, what? I personally use brief the most. Just listen to it for 2 minutes before the exam. It's pretty low effort and gives you a decent recall of overall concept. One thing, if these formats and tiles in the studio panel aren't showing to you, then you should check your Google account. If its age is above 18, then it's fine, but if it's below 18, then some features might be restricted, so keep that in mind. Next is video overview. It's pretty similar to audio overview, but it's visual. Wow. It has visuals, graphics, and quotes and definitions pulled straight from your sources, all narrated by AI voice. You get two formats here. Brief, just like audio overview, it's short and explains the concept quickly, but it is very concise and leaves a lot of detailed stuff. And then there's the explainer. It is the longer session, kind of like deep dive, but there's again only one host that just explains the entire thing in around 5 to 10 minutes so that you can actually understand the things in a bit more depth. It also connects the dots across your sources. The interesting part here is the visual styles. I have never seen someone talk about these, but these are very cool. NotebookLM uses Google's image generation model called Nano Banana, interesting name by the way, to generate visuals inside the video. You can pick from styles like the classic, whiteboard, anime, and retro and watercolor and a lot more. Honestly, I use this way less than the audio overview, but if you are a visual learner, then this might be worth giving a try. Then there's mind map. I find this one quite underrated. It takes all your sources and generates an interactive mind map. Main topic in the center, then branches from it talking about the main subtopics, then branches from the subtopics talking about more niche topics, and then from niche topics there are keywords and so on. When you click a node, it just expands it, and if you click on it, it gives you a summary of the topic or the subtopic or the keyword that you clicked on, and then you can ask more questions about it. On any topic, you can just create the mind map, and it's the best short notes that you can make because it includes the headings, the subheadings, and the keywords. It forces you to recall the actual concepts connected with those keywords, making you do the actual recall with just slight assistance. And finally, flashcards and quizzes. Flashcards are exactly what they sound like. NotebookLM generates questions and answers. The question is on the front page and you can flip it to see the answer. You can customize how many cards you want, few, standard or more. You can also set the difficulty to medium, low or hard. You can also add a prompt in it to focus on a specific topic. Let's say you have the entire fundamentals of partnership chapter. You can just ask it to focus on partnership deed or focus on fluctuating capital method, etc. And it narrows down the flashcards. Quiz gives you multiple MCQs that you can solve. They also come with the same customization as flashcards. You can increase their numbers or decrease their numbers, or you can also set their difficulty to hard or easy. What makes these way more useful than other online random quizzes is that these are actually made from your sources, so they are actually relevant to you. The questions come from the specific sources you uploaded, and the phrasing is also similar to your textbook or your sources, which makes it a lot better, making it a lot more relevant for exams, as a lot of times exam requires specific phrasing for the definition, which NotebookLM, obviously since it works with your sources, excels at. So that's genuinely how I use NotebookLM. It's not a magic tool that does your study for you. You still have to read, you still have to watch the lectures, you still have to learn, you still have to practice. These are the things that actually make you learn, to be honest. NotebookLM is just a tool that makes it easier and modernizes it. If you try it, start simple with one notebook, a few sources, experiment with it, play around, try different formats. Just play around with it and you will do it. That's it for today.